Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got Aaron Bennett with me in person. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jeff. It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah.
And all right, so first of all, we're going to sound a little chummy because it was just weekend before last with Sherman Oaks Film Festival, and you were one of those wonderful filmmakers. Well, first, the official part of your introduction is that you wrote and directed Joker's Wild. Mm-hmm. And that was an official selection at Sherman Oaks Film Festival 2025. Took home something called the Filmmakers Award for Outstanding Director of a Horror Short. Yeah. That was you.
Which I'm very honored
and also the second award that the film took home was the Grand Jury Award for Best Sound Design in a Short Film.
Yep. Yes, we did.
So there we go.
Yeah.
2 awards.
2 awards. Yes.
That doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't, Jeff. And not at all. There's
no, but
there is no
not
sucking.
That you made the film with awards. So anyway, we are here to. So you are here to talk about the award-winning Joker's Wild, but I was also going to get to the fact that you are the kind of filmmaker who, when you got into a festival, including one in your hometown where you live, that you came out and watched other people's work, which to me is a big fucking deal. By the way, I didn't warn you that we can curse, but we can't curse. But it's a bit, because I see so many people come to the festival and show no interest in the work of their peers.
And just leave.
And I think, gosh, if you're a creative person, you want, the Beatles paid attention to what everyone else was doing. Including, esoteric bands and stuff. So who would not want to look at the work of their peers? So the fact that you were there watching other people's films, which is also another way to support your compatriots. You get big props from me for that.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I think it's a community, and also though it's kind of your cultural watermark with your peers to be able to go in and see, like, okay, how did I do? Number one, like that. How did I do compared to everybody else? What's the standard today? And in your heart of hearts what you had to make it, to make your production, and you get to see and the talkbacks. To me, it's the talkbacks at the end of each. Because not all festivals do that. Not everyone gets a chance to go down and talk about the film. It's like, I had a 13-minute short film with credits, and I got to go down and talk for 25 minutes. I felt like, which is kind of absurd, but it's like we went through a lot to make those 13 minutes.
It actually might have been 25 because the film after you in your block, they couldn't make it last minute.
Losha.
Yeah, Losha. The it's funny. I've always said Lokia, but you might be right. It might be Losha.
I don't know if it
Lochia.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. Horror featurette, because it's over 20 minutes, and we call things over 20 minutes a featurette. But because they got dragged out to the desert for another production, so they couldn't be there. Yeah. So there was extra time. So you might have gotten to talk for 25.
No, I brought one of my main actors with me. The very talented young man who played Robin in my short film, named Joel LeBlanc. He was there with me, and his I think one family member, and then at least I think his girlfriend, significant other, and he brought a posse with him.
Nice.
And they got to see, and he leaned over to me during the middle of it, and he goes, "I'm just going to give you the heads up. My best friend and his girlfriend don't like horror movies." And I was like, "Oh, they're good sports." And he goes, "Oh yeah, they know this is going to be a horror movie, but they have no idea." And then the movie right after, Losha, for those that go out and see it, if you like horror, go see this featurette wherever you can find it. It is a lot. Like I tip my hat immediately. I messaged on Instagram Chrissy. The lead actress, Chrissy Fox, the lead actress. And it goes into the void. You don't necessarily know if there's going to be back and forth, but I messaged her and I was like, that was outstanding. Like, what an amazing performance.
I told her this by email, so I can say it publicly. She did win the award for best lead performance. Yeah. We don't go actor-actress, we go performance, so it's non-gendered. And I said, and I think you're the first time ever that it was unanimous. Like, she was number one on every ballot.
That's well deserved. Well,
because it's it is a lot. That film is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But
When
it's
you
beautiful.
I thought it was going to
and
end,
dark.
and there was more, and it's almost like another director would step in and say, "Hold my beer," and then another director would step in and say, "I'm just like." They are just hitting us with all the punches. The kitchen sink is involved in this film, and like hats off to them, because I was truly uncomfortable, like Ari Aster, uncomfortable in my seat, and it was a little bit of Ari Aster's, a little bit of definitely like some Terrifier level gore in there, but the lighting was exquisite. It's kind of a beautiful movie, and if you're going to do horror, make it that attractive. And that was a character in and of itself. They had roaches and rats and
it's an amazing work of art, and it is horror.
It is
and
horror.
It's body horror.
Body horror specifically.
And it takes place in a crack house, and it is real. It's loyal to it.
Yeah.
And the last thing I should say about it, I was going to say, did anyone in the theater notice the warning?
I did not.
Because when your Robin was saying, my friend, my girlfriend, like they don't like horror, it actually said, there was actually a disclaimer on the screen coming up, everyone, like every 30 seconds when it showed all the movie posters, it said, warning, there is violence and or gore or whatever. And it said something like that, and it said it on the tickets too, and it said it just said I believe it said the programmers of this festival believe strongly in the artistic merit of these films. If this is not for you, we encourage you to leave the theater now and ask for a refund, or just something like that.
Yeah,
no, because I just had to cover our ass because I would realize like your film was a lot.
Yeah, there were.
I think Joker's Wild is wonderfully. I mean, honestly, when we get to it, I'm going to save my compliments for when we get to it. But when I say it was a lot, I mean it in the best way possible. and then, honestly, it was almost a blessing that to be able to put your film and Lokia together.
Yeah.
Because they were a wonderful 1-2 punch, I'm sure.
Oh, I felt like I was a soft jab compared to an absolute shotgun to the face. Because he goes, my friends were uncomfortable during Joker's Wild. They were paralyzed during Lotion. I was like physically in my stomach and my chest. Like that's how I felt when I watched Hereditary for the first time. I felt physically uncomfortable the entire 2.5 hours.
Oh man, Hereditary is nothing compared to that.
Yeah, but yeah. Now when I'm watching that, I felt my whole chest. Like I felt like, I'm just noticing now. I'm taking very shallow, uncomfortable breath, and I look over, and Joel must have seen my head turn to him, and he looked over at me at the same time, and I'm like, if she does with that baby what I think she's gonna do.
What's funny is we debated putting the disclaimer in between the first 2 films and the second 2 films, right. And I felt that would have been like pointing a finger at the third and fourth
in a way.
So we just put it on that card, but now I realize people didn't notice. So now I'm wondering if in good taste we need to do a card.
No, I think it was fair to say like that whole block, had a little bit something adult for everything. I think that anyone that was there to notice the first, I think there were 4 total in our block.
4.
And I think it kind of gradually, like you increase the temperature. We were frogs in a pot of boiling water. And I think that the water was nice and cool when we started. But I think it was boiling by the time we got to that 4th movie.
and the truth is, right, and this obviously, I'm sure there's people who might have been horrified, but in general, right, one of the things I'm proud of with our festival is because we're so quality focused that I do hear from people a lot like, I'm not a horror person, but that was a good film. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest compliment
like
in the
world. Even the horrified people might be like, oh, I never want to see that again, but I respect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I love hearing that.
Yeah, I've never watched Hereditary is it Heredity or
Hereditary?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never watched that movie twice. I watched it once and I remember vividly everything that happens in it. And it left a huge impression. And I knew that I was going to see every movie made by that director henceforth, and then back up and see his other stuff too. And because this guy was bringing something incredibly new to the table that I had never experienced. It was kind of the difference between getting on a merry-go-round and getting on a roller coaster. Like I'm actually feeling something and not just being dazzled by lights. I got in a seat and watched this movie, and my roommate, Vanessa Lee, another director, she sat there and giggled and watched me watch that movie because she had already seen it numerous times.
That's so funny. I didn't see Vanessa come in that night.
She was supposed to come.
I would have said hi to her.
Yeah, she was supposed to come on Saturday, but she had a date.
She had a date. Oh, but your screening was Friday, right?
Mine was Friday.
Yours was Friday. Was she there Friday?
She wasn't. No,
no. Gotcha.
Yeah, she was going to come and hang out on Saturday, though.
Gotcha. Yeah. Understood. No worries. No
life.
Life. No,
life.
Good.
Yeah.
Look, I encourage dating. I think dating is wonderful.
Yeah. Everyone should
All
do
the
it.
young people.
All the young people should do
it. I like that it's still, this is, I know people who are having kids. I'm so glad people are having kids in this world.
That's good for them.
Yeah, we need this. All right, so anyway, this was a danger. We probably should have had a no Lokia rule because it's going to steal all the time away from you. So we can't mention it again.
Okay.
But when we stop recording, ask me to tell you more about it because I know some shit. Okay. So anyway.
Okay. Awesome.
So,
now everyone's going to be mad. They're going to be like,
yeah.
Where's the Lokia?
They can sit and spin. They'll have to wait till Chrissy or the director comes on the podcast, and because I certainly am not allowed to reveal their secrets here now.
Yeah.
Plus, we're supposed to talk about Joker's Wild.
Yeah.
And your work and your career, because actually this is the second time you've been with us. Because you wrote Good Counsel, which was 2020, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the COVID lockdown era.
Yeah. It was in post right after COVID, because we weren't wearing any masks on set, so I think we shot it in November or December of 2018. Or 2019, sorry.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. And then
and it was in post, and then COVID happened.
And you're a producer and one of the main actors in that. Has actually been a wonderful juror of ours on the Filmmakers Board for years.
Bond. Yeah.
Chandra's great. Whose husband was your DP.
Her husband is one of my best friends, and he also is my director of photography. And I've known him for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, so it's really cool. There are these communities there's these creative communities.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're only 13 minutes in. It feels like longer, but we're only 13 minutes in. So now I can finally get to the question, which is, so obviously much respect to you. You Good Counsel was wonderfully well written, and Joker's Wild kicks ass and is a great film. And I can tell you, like I said to my wife, the Joker's Wild guys come in. She's like, "Oh, that was so good." But then amusingly, I said, "Do you want to watch it again with me?" And she went, "Oh no." Just for the violence. Too into violence.
It is violent. That's true. And it only took 150,000 views on YouTube before YouTube was like, "Hey, we're getting a lot of thumbs downs over this." Well, actually, that's not true. They do the dislike metrics, and I learned a lot about the things that they'll tell you about which countries watch your movie, and if they're doing it on a cell phone or a laptop or whatever, YouTube has all the dirt. And one of the things that I know is that 98.2% of people that watched it, out of the 40,000 likes or whatever that people bothered to make, were thumbs up.
Yeah.
Right? And on the internet about comic books and horror.
Right.
I figured it would be like a 60-40.
There was a gore disclaimer, right? Or there was some kind of warning?
Not initially. Not initially. I just threw it up on there.
Oh, gotcha.
And it got its first 150,000 views in 4 days.
Although when we talk about gore, I should point out that it actually is the cinematic. We're discussing Joker's Wild earlier than we were supposed to, but it's okay. We're going to get to how you got into the creative world. But
right.
I'm just going to add that it is not unlike The Great Reservoir Dogs in that the violence is actually mostly happening.
Yeah.
We watch the person perpetrating. We're not watching the perpetration. That's terrible. But, look, everyone thinks they saw an ear get cut off in Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
They didn't. We saw the guy sawing with his arm, and then we saw the ceiling, and we heard the screams.
Yeah.
And everyone visualized it, which is better.
Yeah. No,
and that's kind of what you did, right?
Our minds do the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's for cost reasons too. Like we just had him bite down on a tongue, and then, I pulled away and used a cut and volume and all the cheap tricks, I guess.
Well, you're calling them cheap tricks, but I also think it's just better filmmaking than...
Our minds do so much more work. The heavy lifting I wanted to be done with the eye. I didn't have a big VFX budget. I lucked out. My editor, Matt Walker, is also top-notch, like Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts. Like he's a VFX guy. He got the job with Marvel about 3 weeks after we shot our film. So I was in a race to get him to finish editing Joker's Wild before he started working for Disney. And so that's a really powerful guy, knowledge-wise, to have in your back pocket. It's just that it really was truly a race. And he was also basically my post supervisor, pulling all the strings together to make sure everything is wound tight. And yeah, he did so much of the heavy lifting, and so many times where I just kind of sitting behind him during a session, and he just turn around and go, "This is really special. Like, this is going to be really cool. You should be really proud of it."
It really is cool. And we will talk about it in a little bit. So now, where'd you grow up?
Washington State.
Washington State.
Yeah,
so nice.
Yeah, I was born up north.
City or rural?
Rural. Yeah, it's a little town
nice.
called Prosser. And
so far away from any of this Hollywood bullshit.
Oh yeah.
And were you a creative kid?
I like to draw. Yeah, that was the first taste.
So visual.
Yeah. From my mom's side of the family, it's artists all over the place. And whether or not they're graphic designers or writers or, just a lot of talented thinkers on my mom's side of the family going way back.
That's wonderful. And that probably means that young Aaron, when you would draw something, you would actually get encouragement with probably just the right amount of, hey, what if you do this? Like a little bit of guidance too.
Yeah. My mom was a very talented artist, and she, a painter, drawer, there would be a phone book sitting, on the kitchen table, and it would have little horses all over it. She just absentmindedly, while she was on the phone, just sketched something that I couldn't sketch, like photograph.
I was going to say a horse is tough.
Yeah, and well, she just grew up on a farm, loved horses. Number one favorite thing, without a doubt, no distant second, horses. And so any Western theme. In fact, my great grandmother on my mom's side was one of the first female Western painters, of renown, I guess, that would do Westernscapes because they lived in Montana, and so all of the artwork that they created was around Native tribes, Crow Nation, things like that, and Western themed artwork.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a creative kid, and you're into drawing. Which did that lead? So what came? Did you? Most kids who draw appreciate comic books and things.
Yeah, comic books. Comic books came a little bit later. I liked still cartoons, Sunday Funnies type panel cartoons and things like that. And I didn't have money for comic books, so I would go to the grocery store and read the comics that were still on the stand, on the little spinny thing that used to be there back in the day. And so I would read everything and then put them back on the thing and go home.
Sadly, I just did that with Playboy and Penthouse. I wish I'd looked at a comic book once, but I had other interests.
I got to run home faster. But I would do that. And when I started collecting comic books, though, which was eventual, my dad was a contractor, and so I could go to work with him on the weekends and sweep up, the job site or do things. And when I was 11 or 12, I could start roofing and make a little bit more money that way. But predating that, I had a lot of bullies, and those bullies had homework that needed doing. And I made barter arrangements with one in particular, and he would pay me. He was kind of a single kid, divorced parents, only child situation, and so he was just showered in goodies, and he had stacks of comic books that he had abused and whatnot, and he traded me stacks of those comic books to do his book reports and homework and stuff. And so that was probably one of my first earliest jobs, was getting out of a beating in the schoolyard by buddying up and saying, if only we could make peace and I could do your homework and you could maybe pay me. And so sure enough,
and you ended up with comic books, which
comic books.
In the world of filmmaking, I always have to be the lame person who points out that a comic book really is a script with the storyboards built in.
Yeah. I mean, great action sequences. Superman punching someone, he goes through a wall, 3 walls, 3 panels. Like that's a scene breakdown. And that's all it is. It
really is. It's visual storytelling, and it lends itself so well to cinema.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as a kid though too, your mind fills in every little space in that storyboard. And I didn't think about it till much, much later, but that's really what I was doing, was just my introduction to story. Like, Treasure Island was read to me by my mom when I was a kid, and those types of book and experiences of oral storytelling was, imperative. I hope people read to their kids. Still, like, I hope that's a thing anymore, because it's just something about having that done live bedside. That's great for character building and storytelling. But the thing that I really just needed was to be able to see a love for film develop from that. And I think my dad, his contribution was, after a really nasty week of physical labor, he would come home from the video store with like 5 VHS, cassettes, and just, that's what we were going to do. We were going to watch movies. We might watch 2 that night, because he hated commercials. And so it's either you watch what everyone else is watching on Friday night, or we sit down and watch something with no commercials. That's, the talk of the town, whether it's whatever action movie, Die Hard or what have you. And it wasn't a situation where we could afford to buy them, but a video rental's $2, $1. And, there's the 50-cent ones in the back that have been out for 5 or 6 years. So he'd get one new release for $2 and 4 other ones for 50 cents a pop. That's a pretty cheap weekend of entertainment for, the after dinner hangout with the fam, and then talk about it. That's the thing. Like, everybody watching all the stuff all the time, it's kind of, it's you're not even using your brain as much. You're just looking at something. It's when the movie's done, talking about it afterwards and going, well, what did you like, kid? What did you think of that? And then having an engagement and having to sit there and think, well, I don't know. What did I like? I laughed a lot, but why was I laughing? Was it physical humor? Was it, the jokes were clever? Were they puns? Like, what'd you like about it? And just having your parent ask you, what was it about this movie that would make you want to watch it twice, is kind of something that you go to your room and you think, like, well, what makes this movie? Then you start having opinions. What makes this movie better than that movie? Well, he brought home 5 movies and I only liked 2 of them. Well, why did I like those 2? And that just kind of started taste. And that's how I just started developing the taste that I have.
Yeah. And an appreciation that this art form can, and in my opinion should, but it really is communal. It's shared, and if you share it with people and discuss it, it's a higher. I mean, I always compare it to when we were hunter gatherers and we gather around the campfire at night and tell our stories. It really is. Yeah. It really is how humans share stories now. We sadly mostly use the screen instead of talking to each other, but as long as we talk to each other after sharing the screen, it's great. Yeah. And I love the VHS era. Obviously, I grew up in it too. That because how often would you want, if something was really great, you could watch it again before you return it. Yeah. And we used to rewatch films. Yeah. Which you can't really do in the streaming.
Well, you felt
era.
like you were stealing money when you watched it the second time, and you're just like, I'm probably only supposed. This is a 1-day rental. That was the whole thing. It's like 2 days for $3, or 1 day for $2. Like, so it's like, oh boy, if I'll just get a 1-day rental and then I'll watch it twice.
I might have been the a-hole with like in college with like my VCR and my roommate's VCR running
running dubs.
So we could dub.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time before they had the thing that would prevent that.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, all that was a little. I mean, so I've heard. was a little stub of plastic that you click off with a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. And
Yeah. But all right, so that gave you an appreciation. So did you think about film then, or are you just a fan of film as a young person?
I was just a fan of film.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And I never considered the ability to make one. Because there was no BTS, behind the scenes footage of the making of whatever movie it is I just watched. And I mean, you could find a documentary maybe, but
Yeah, bonus features didn't come till the
not till
DVD era, I
DVDs.
guess. Yeah.
DVDs just at that point. I think my first DVDs were like Twister, because I had a surround sound system, and I'm like, oh, now I'm going to get a DVD player because it was all built into one thing, and I'm like, okay, it's time to upgrade. I'm going to grow up, and this is like 1996 or 97. I was late to the game. I had a million other things to spend my money on. But I'm like, okay, no, I got a couple nickels to rub together. I'm going to get a DVD player and 5 little speakers, and Magnavox, I think, was the brand. And I think they're defunct now.
They are.
And Twister, Saving Private Ryan, American History X, and As Good as It Gets, I think were the first little patch of buy DVDs for 10 for a buck, for a penny or whatever. What was that company?
You know what? You just reminded me that so I never actually adopted DVD, believe it or not. But when the internet started, I remember very clearly DVD.com was a website that sold DVDs.
Yeah.
And on there, like when they launched, you could get 3 DVDs for $1.
Yeah.
Just because they wanted to capture your info.
Oh, yeah.
So I got Fifth Element, 2001.
Oh, wow.
And might have been Pulp Fiction.
That
might have been the third.
That's a great 3.
And I never had anything to play them on.
I just wanted
I
to
just
get it
held
on
on
this
to
DVD
them like
thing.
collector's items. But those are the 3 I ordered, but I never actually bothered with DVD, believe it or not, and I didn't bother Blu-ray, and I feel pretty happy about it now.
Yeah. How much plastic did you save? Not me, baby. I'm a collector.
I got friends who collect, and believe me, I understand it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's so when did you first start writing stories and/or playing with a camera of sorts?
So public access television. I started doing
Right. So high school, it was just still drawing and stuff, and then I'm assuming that public access was college era or
1997. I never went to college.
oh, never went to.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I had the opportunity to go. I was going to do ITT Technical College to do architectural drafting and engineering. And my mother unfortunately passed the month I graduated high school. So
Sorry to hear. That's way too early.
I just started working full time, paying a mortgage, and just missed my 20s. Kind of jumped right into my 30s, mature adult, mustache and everything at 18. So married at 19, divorced at 24. I had my practice wedding, as I called it. I don't think she calls it that, but I do.
As someone on his second marriage, which is a very happy one, and it's her second marriage, whenever people like get engaged, I go, "Oh, it's so wonderful! Everyone needs a first marriage."
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
I
You
think,
got to fuck up once,
especially when you're 19. Nobody should be getting married when they're 19.
Oh God, you don't even.
Just didn't want to be alone, man. I just lost my mommy. I'm like, I'm a kid.
Also, I was always very serious, actually, at that age, about nothing but relationships. Like, literally, I think I started thinking about marrying people around during the first date. Every time I was just like, oh yeah, maybe this will work.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I'm super deep into committal.
Yeah,
absolutely. Head first.
Serial monogamy.
Yeah. That's. All
right, so you're becoming an adult too fast. And then when do you start embracing this fun side of it?
I literally had the time of my life. The very last portion of my senior year, I was in drama. I took drama, I had plenty of credits to graduate as a junior, and I took all these hard classes and then realized I'm probably not going to go to college, and so I just started taking easy stuff, metal shop, wood shop, drama. I'll try drama. And then ended up like a switch just flipped in my brain, and I was like, oh, this is great. I tried to get into a play, tried to do that, and I didn't make it. It was kind of cliquey, theater kids. And but when I got out of high school, I was just working grocery store. I was in a grocery store for 24 years, just perpetual slog of just go to work. And I was at work one day, literally, another guy who remembered me from that drama class that I did not remember him because he was a freshman, I think. And he goes, hey, I've got a TV show on public access. I would love for you to come and do it. You were really funny. I remember how funny you were. And I didn't know that public access existed. And for the people that don't, it was the free means to put on a TV show paid for by the taxes, all of our taxes.
The local cable company, in order to get the right to lay cable into our streets and run it to our homes, had to promise a free TV studio to the public.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell us about it.
No.
But when you found out, it was an amazing resource.
Oh, game on. Because it's your First Amendment right that anything you make in that public access television station has to air one time. And that's all we cared about. Like, and it was like every sketch comedy troupe ever, like they probably in the 90s had to have started with public access because they had cameras, they had all the recording. They would teach you how to edit on a non-linear editing, which was incredibly sophisticated, at the time to me. In mid-90s. And this guy already had a developed show that was already airing. He had already done like 9 or 10 episodes. He was kind of like this big fish in a little pond. And I did not have cable television. I did not know this show existed. So he brought me in and had this entire like 12, 13 people that were in front and behind the camera. Sound guy. He'd amassed this like little cult following to make this show. And I walked on and he was just like, hey, everybody stand aside, and kind of gave me a lot of grace, which wasn't popular with these very established friend group that he had.
Another clique to deal with.
Another clique. And they had this little mini mutiny. I mean, you want to talk about drama. They said, okay, everybody, we're going to meet on Wednesday. And everyone goes, great, we'll see you next Wednesday. And he and I were the only ones that showed up. No one else would answer their phones. They were proving a point. They were like, you don't have a show unless we come and help you make your show. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with these people, but no one showed except for he and I. And he was, of course, distraught, and it decimated, his world was very structured around this show. And I'm like, you and I are here. Like, the camera's on a tripod. Like, you just hit the rec button, right? Like, he literally he was weeping, and so we put on a show because they had wardrobe that they offered us. They had wigs that he had collected, and we just made a bunch of characters, and then went into the booth afterwards and started editing it. And you saw that, obviously the quality of his shows was going up and up and up, and all of a sudden here's this very rudimentary one. But we had the time of our lives, and it was super simplistic because it was so raw. And I also had no idea what I could and couldn't do. And he's just like, oh, you can say anything. And I was like, oh, great, game on. Because, I kind of developed from that into stand-up, did some stand-up, and then, 4 or 5 years later, did an improv troupe. We did that for 10 years, did 400 shows in 10 years. And
is all this still Pacific Northwest?
This is all Yakima, Central Washington State. Yeah. It's kind of east of Seattle by about 2.5 hours if you were to draw an X on Washington State.
But far enough away that it's its own culture.
Its own thing, yeah. And our improv troupe started getting a little big for its britches, not with like bodies, but just the things that we were getting bigger rooms. And then we started getting a lot of attention. We actually started making money. We were doing like corporate events and, outside the state, like we'd travel all the way to like Walla Walla. We're driving like 4 and 5 hours to do like a bank corporate event and, have a bunch of drunk bankers, play around with our hair while we're trying to do our sketches and stuff. And it was essentially Whose Line Is It? short form theater games and things like that. A lot of, dick and fart jokes and things, adult bar humor. And then, but we would also do kids shows. Like we would go to like, fifth graders, sixth graders, and do entire shows for them. And those by far my favorite, absolute favorite, because they were just cross-legged on the assembly room floor, just watching, 200 kids just wrapped and into it. And the suggestions you get from kids are so honest too. You're just like, what's your favorite, you would always say to an adult, you'd say like, give us a dirty job no one wants to do. And then they always say like proctologist or urologist or gynecologist.
And they're trying to prove to the room that they've got a good one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so funny. I'm going to say this thing you've only heard out of 400 shows. You probably heard it 350 times. And, but kids are just like, what's your favorite job? And they'll be like, Santa. and we're laughing, which makes them laugh. And it's like this infectious thing. And, it was just one of my favorite things. Absolutely. And I did improv up until I moved, to LA. But I never thought I would continue doing any improv when I got down here. I knew that there's a whole legion of people down here, Groundlings and, Second City, and they're doing this down here because this is what they want to do. They want to do that. And that is their path. And I figure if I jump in that line, I'm just taking the spot of somebody behind me who definitely wants to do that more than I do. And I've kind of already done this thing.
Right. So for you, it was fun, but it wasn't, you weren't saying, I want to do this.
I loved improv so much, it buried my my marriage. Like she defined herself as a comedy widow, because that to me was every Friday night, 2 shows, one on Saturday, a kid's show on Wednesday or Thursday if I could schedule it. Like I opened up a comedy club in Yakima that never had one before, and all that ended up being was a bar that had comedy also. And I had over glamorized it in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to have a comedy club. It's going to be laughs all day, all night. No, it's just hanging out with a bunch of drunks that don't appreciate comedy as much as you do. And they just couldn't find another bar that was closer. And it was just, it sucked. Honestly, it started to suck the fun out of comedy for me. And I also started hearing some very disparaging stories about life on the road, comics who had killed themselves, drug, alcohol, 4 or 5 marriages. I was like, oh my God, nobody's talking about this story. So my first feature screenplay that I ever wrote is about the stories that I learned from the comics that I was hiring to do this once I was in the comedy community. Which also is very interesting how stand-up comics treat improv comics with a little bit of like awe, like, wow, you just make this shit up. Like 60%.
But at the same time, like you're not a writer. We are honing our craft.
1,000%. Yet almost everyone behind the scenes.
Jag-offs.
Yeah. And behind the scenes in Saturday Night Live and all those, most of those guys have backgrounds in improv. Because coming up with something fast and furious is exactly the mindset you have to have in improv is to be able to take the suggestion and immediately go with it. You're a big kid. Your mind has to work like a kid. The more mania, the better. And but with stand-up, I would have conversations with guys that I thought were so talented, and they'd just be like, I don't know how you do what you do. I was like, what are you talking about, man? You're amazing. And they're just like, yeah, but I say this same story. And the way that you feel that I'm amazing is that I make it sound like it just happened to me. Oh man, I was out in the parking lot and this happened to me. He goes, I've been telling that story for 17 years. And you believe me when I say it just happened to me when I got out of my car. And I was like, I didn't even think for a second that wasn't an authentic thing. And he goes, if you hire me to come back in 6 months, I'm going to tell the same story. And I was like, wow.
Road comic.
Road comics.
Using their best stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned screenplay.
Yeah.
And moving to LA. So even though you were deep in the improv and comedy thing and a bit of stand up, you were already thinking about screenwriting at that point, or what was the impetus to want to come to LA?
So the same guy who had the public access show had himself become a movie maker and had been connecting with me, even though I'm still doing comedy and I'm doing all these other things. He would put together a production and he would bring me on to act. I mean, just out of nowhere, my phone would ring and hey, I'm doing a horror movie and I need a bald white guy, like, cause there's such a shortage of us, Jeff. and but I would go and I would be a cop number 5 or whatever on whatever feature that he had. And because I had availability and I was managing my own department, I could write my own schedule, and I had kind of a benefit. There was a benefit of having me on your cast, and that was, that I was pliable and I had a credit card. And so if there was gear that needed purchased, I could become an EP. I was so excited to become an EP. And then I realized that just means you're never going to see the money again. And
it's a donation.
It's a donation. What I would have really rather have had him say I would never see the investment ever again. But
it's not an investment. It's a donation.
It's an investment to my artistic experience.
Yeah. That it is.
I did level up. I did, because of his endeavors. And so I do see it now in retrospect. But at the time, that money was precious, and never seeing that money again was really devastating. But so he was making features, and I was getting to see, this is what a script looks like, literally. And this is what acting with other people is like, literally, and not just getting up and thinking of it off the top of your head. Because like I said, in high school, I never had that theater experience. I had been doing some community theater, but doing a play or a farce written in 1960, Arsenic and Old Lace and those types of things, and musicals. I did musicals, but yet I can't read sheet music or sing. I would sing in character because I can't carry a tune either. And I know when the ants go up on the page, your voice goes up too. And I know when the ants go down on the page, your voice goes down. And I was hopeless, but yet I was funny. And so that's why they would cast me in these musicals. But that was the absolute floor of what I knew as far as a script went, or what it should look like, or how it'd be formatted. But I could write sketch. That I could do. And I made this assumption. He called me up. Sorry, to answer your question, he called me up and he said, I got an opportunity to do a show. I have an investor. It's going to be based in Los Angeles. I want you to come and write on it. And I had 2 ex-wives, another relationship that I thought was going to be the last one suddenly dumped me. So basically half the population of the town I live in is my ex. So I'm just like, I hate this place. I don't like that. I'm just making money, working nights. And I was miserable. And a creative endeavor at that point was probably the only thing to keep me from jumping. Like, it was just, I needed it. My soul needed it. So on my 41st birthday, I gave my job my notice. On my 41st birthday, I had everything. I turned 41 driving through Oregon, and then landed in Los Angeles, and was going to start writing on this show. And great. The day before we were going to start writing, the EP, one of the 4 producers, took the EP's money by forging signatures and stole $1.6 million. So as quickly as I had this job that I just rented my house out and quit my job for, I didn't any longer have a job. So I was in Los Angeles, no work history as a writer, wanting to be a writer, which I don't know if anyone out there has heard. It's very difficult to be a writer in a community of writers when you have no work history.
That's also a much bigger theft story than one normally hears.
Yeah.
That's a huge embezzlement.
We found out there were 4 signatures.
What a fucking introduction to the industry.
Yeah. Oh, it was catastrophic in a lot of ways. And also to the young lady who put in like 80% of that financing, it was her trust. She was one of the showrunners and creators, lead actress. It was personally financed. It was her all in, which we all make at some point, but no one does an all in to that degree. She's okay. One of those. Yeah. With respect, a trust fund kid, but she's okay, but devastating to her, and soured the project to a degree that they never ended up making it, which is, I feel, a loss, because it's a tremendous idea. It's a workplace comedy, but I feel like I haven't seen anyone do anything like this. I would hope that they would pick it up, but it was traumatic to all the people involved. I thought, let's do it still in spite of what happened, as a healing catharsis. We'll make it against all odds. I talked to one of the showrunners not even a year ago, a former showrunner for it, and she was just like, no, even thinking about the name of it, it's just, we're going to bury it, which I think is a shame. But for my own purposes, I had a background in construction, and immediately I pivoted to what's a grip? Like, how can I utilize I'll paint sets.
You can paint, so you can build sets, you can paint sets, you can.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I did on Good Counsel too, is I was building set pieces, the box that the body goes into. I built that for them. I, built the set walls that are there separating what was actually the kitchen. I manufactured, I'd never made a set wall with jacks and things like that, but I know how to make a real wall with sheetrock and things like that nature.
But by the way, that's kind of sophisticated thinking to have the plug pulled on that series and turn and go, okay, you have this practical mind of like, okay, I'm going to work as crew and use my construction skills. Because not everyone knows about all this, how many jobs there are that are not glamour jobs in the industry.
Yeah. And I had only learned very recently that Harrison Ford was working as a carpenter before he made it as Han Solo. Things like that had just occurred to me, like, oh, wait. There's this whole world that happens behind the camera, because it was still very mystical to me how movies are made.
I have to share something silly, which is that Harrison Ford was a carpenter who worked on Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66, his home that he built in the late 60s. And by the way, my parents bought the little home in North Hollywood that Sergio Mendes moved out of in 1969. So when I read that Harrison Ford was one of the carpenters on Sergio Mendes's film, I was like, on Mendes's house, I was like, oh my God, is that my parents' house? No, it was the big one that he moved into when he was done with a little, 4-bedroom in North Hollywood. But anyway, I had to share that I almost had a connection to Harrison Ford's carpenter days.
Hey, that's the same couple sentences. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a connection. That's within 6 degrees, right?
It is. All right, there we go. All right, so the carpenter thing.
Oh yeah. We found out about the theft of this money. We were all on the set of a small, 12-day feature being filmed out in Westlake Village, and it literal 2 Blues Brothers looking FBI agents show up, sunglasses. It's nighttime kind of situation. They show up, and badge and all, and they're like, we need to speak with, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Are either of them here? And I'm over at our U-Haul/grip truck, and, I take them over, and then they go and have a very private discussion. And my one friend, she starts crying, and my producer friend is just a white sheet of paper, just jaw slack, the whole bit, like you can only imagine. And then they leave, and of course I go over and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And he goes, I can't tell you. And we just went back to shooting.
So it wasn't the cost of shutting them down?
No, that had nothing to do with this production. This was just what we were going to do.
So the cops showed up to share the embezzlement info.
The feds showed up to tell them what I know now, which is that we've been monitoring your calls, emails, and texts for the last 4 months. This guy's done this to multiple productions and multiple investors, and you guys have already lost your money. It's gone. We're going to find him. We believe he's in Delaware using a VPN or whatever, but the money is gone. If you tell him you're an accessory, and we will arrest you. We know that you're not a part of this scam, but we know you're also planning the next 3 movies you want to do with this man. Stop making investor connections. Stop bringing other people's money into this. He's still feeding on you.
But they wouldn't tell you before.
They couldn't tell us.
Yeah.
They said if they told anyone else, including friends, whatever, and it got outside of that circle, that they would know that they were listening still, and that they're trying to find this guy actively. Said the less you tell anyone, the better.
Right.
Because that gives us a chance to
track him down. So they didn't have enough to arrest him.
They didn't have his whereabouts.
Damn.
Yeah, he did all of this stuff. Like he faxed in.
But like that series could have happened
Yeah.
if he'd just been arrested a few months earlier.
Like right away, before the money left overseas. Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole thing, we could have just been a blip. Yeah. He forged the other 3 producers' signatures on the 4-person account, transferred the money overseas.
You'd think the 4-signature requirement would have been enough, but no, banks are lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chase. I hope they're not your sponsor.
I wish I could have had a horrible. No, Chase is wonderful now.
Yeah.
Happen to bank with them though, because
Yeah.
they give nonprofits a free account. What can you do?
Yeah. I think I do have. I might still have an account with them. I'm not sure.
There's like one bank left in it.
Yeah.
Like everyone has.
Yeah.
No, there's 3. But
It's a different shingle of the same house. Yeah.
So that news came while you were working on the thing out in Westlake. You said.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so, we were all pretty paralyzed when we were finally able to be told, because that's a secret. You can't, I mean, we had people leaving their work and coming down and moving and planning to move. He had to find a clever way of not telling, but telling everybody, like, just, I can't get into it, but I am telling you that the project's off. And then, of course, okay, so what does that mean? Is my role within the project not going? He goes, no, the whole project is not happening. Figure it out. And he himself is, went into a deep, deep depression, clearly, because he brought that guy into the equation because they had done 2 other movies together. But it was a Ponzi scheme type of thing. He would get an investor for the future movie and then bring that in and say, oh, okay, here's my bit that I'm bringing to your movie. If you can find matching money, we'll put it in this account. And then he would borrow from that matching money, do it with another producer until finally someone dropped in the biggest egg that he had ever had a chance to grab, and that was the 1.6. Yeah.
Yeah, which was that's when that was his exit plan.
That was the exit plan.
Once the number got big enough.
Yeah. They did find him. He did get arrested. The money's gone.
Yeah, no, it's in the Caymans or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he spent it. So, but yeah, it's just unfortunate because that was, like you said, that was my introduction, and it's the craziest Hollywood welcome to Hollywood story. Like within 3 days, I don't have a job, and I'm painting set walls and building set pieces, and for a guy out in Inglewood, and then day 5, I hadn't even been here a week. Day 5, I was driving. A guy called me when I got off work, painting some set walls for $20 cash an hour. And he goes, hey, if you can get to set in the next 30 minutes, we need a grip. I was like, okay, yeah, great. I've got 2 days of grip experience, so this should be great. And I still got paint on my hands. And I get there to Skid Row. He gives me a pin. I get to Skid Row, and we filmed. I day played on Veronica. Do you remember this movie? Veronica is a Glenn Danzig film.
The heavy metal dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought he'd be Rob Zombie and make a movie?
Yeah. And I will tell you, it is probably... The room has endearing qualities of being bad good. Veronica is bad. And then good, I imagine, if you're on acid or something. Because visually, it's lit like a whorehouse. And I mean, just bright purples and bright blues and bright reds. And it's just like you had a headache when you got done at the end of this shoot because it was just too much. And it was just, I don't know artistically what was happening in that movie. But I know it was like a wild set. Because there's a rock and roll guy cam-opping like he had palsy. And I mean, you're looking at monitor and your head is getting dizzy because he's got the chucks off on the head of the camera and it's just bobbling around. And I'm just like, what is he doing? Like, who's the operator? And the guy goes, well, that's the boss. And I'm like, oh, so he's going to operate however he wants to operate. But in my...
So Danzig held the camera?
Yeah.
You want to operate it?
Yeah. They actually, at one point, almost like you would give a child, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't like this man. And there's a reason the Misfits broke up, and it's him. So But I will tell you, this guy fired over 35 people from that production and is proud of that fact. And to me, as a producer, that's appalling. You should not be in the film business if you're proud of the fact that you have high turnover. So
True.
But yeah, it was a devastating experience to see a film be made, like, because in my mind, I'm like, this is getting funded. This is like somebody paid to make this movie. And, you know, there are so many other better storytellers out there that treat other people like human beings. But, you know.
It's a backdoor lesson in the power of name recognition.
Yeah. And at that point, I didn't know what I didn't know. So my basis of comparison is really small. It's one 12-day movie, a couple movies I made with friends up in Washington State. And then this is like my first big Hollywood movie. Like, there's money being spent on this set. There's Crafty, for crying out loud. You know, like, there's PAs. What's a PA? You know, there's like, but also I'm in Skid Row. Like, I'm literally looking from the roof where I was rigging a light down onto the street and seeing someone smoke crack. I'm from Washington State. Like, we do have drugs on the eastern side of the state. We don't, like, you don't see people smoking crack or shooting heroin and then throwing a needle out of the car, or have rats run across your feet. Like, I'm going, what the hell am I doing in Hollywood? This is insane. Like, why am I here? Like, but at the same time, it's intoxicating because it's so wild. Like, the stories just kept getting worse, better. As a writer, this is insane, and I have to go and write this down. But as a human being, I'm like, this is appalling. It's a train I can't not watch wreck. Like, I can't stop this train, but I certainly can't look away. And I'm seeing just these crazy experiences that people here, I think, just take for granted. Like, oh, that's happening in that tent right there. And they drive right past it. But to me, I'm a small town kid. I had never witnessed. There are no tents on the sidewalks in my hometown. There just aren't. It's too cold. Like, in the winter, that didn't exist.
Well, it's a population thing.
It is too. Yeah. And it's a disparity of income. There were a lot of jobs available at that time in Yakima, Washington. You know, cherry season kicks on. You can go and make $35 an hour and work 16-hour days and make your yearly nut and live like a king in a town where $30,000 a year is primo income. You know, down here, $30,000 is not going to go very far. But up there, yeah, cost of living being low, gas being cheap, we're right on the reservation. It's a depressed area. It doesn't take a lot of money to live well. But coming down here, just seeing the despair, yeah, to me, it was an eye-opener. And at the same time, I felt like I was cataloging a part of life that I wasn't going to experience any other way. So I wasn't going to leave. That, and it's admitting defeat to go home. Yeah, I've only been here a month. I'm like, now 5 days. What am I going to do? Call my dad? Hey, I know I rented my house out. You know, that extra room you got, can I move back? Well, then I've got to call my old job, say, they had a going away party for me. I'm screwed. Like, I can't go back to this town. And it's a small town. What's Aaron doing at the grocery store? There's no way I'm going to
So in a way, I was going to say, you were determined to keep at it.
Yeah.
But also it was a little bit of unwillingness to, it was really an unwillingness to, I don't know.
It's pride.
Pride, right. Yeah. It was pride and ego. We're like, I'm not going to give up and go back because people, I don't want that to be my story.
As absurd as it is too, Jeff, one of my favorite quotes is from a film. Like most of mine are. I'm not as well read as I should be, but I do watch a lot of movies. One of my favorites is Anthony Hopkins in The Edge, the bear movie. Well, one man can do, another can do. And I thought that's a great rule to live by. And it's this, weird movie about a plane that goes down in the woods, and you got a Baldwin, and you've got Anthony Hopkins, and you're running from a bear that got a taste of man flesh, and it's the simplest plot in the world. But Anthony Hopkins in that saying, like, well, one man can do, another can do. We're going to kill that bear. Say it with me. That's right, because tonight we're going to kill that motherfucker. Yeah. Having Anthony Hopkins convince you by dropping an MF bomb is to have one of the quotes that shapes your life is probably not like my life goal. But if someone can come down here and do it, I feel like I can come down here and do it. And if the it is make a movie, then I'm going to do that shit and do it as best that I can. And I just didn't know the process. No college,
So,
no film school.
Yeah. So your film school was moving here. So after the Danzig disaster, that you survived. Also, you were learning that no matter how bad shit gets, you're still there.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I started forming a tribe without understanding that's your crew. And, like, it's the same. And so I knew a guy who was passionate about wanting to be behind the camera, and that's Chris Bond. And I had met him through this scenario. He was shooting the movie that was being made that day called Motivation. It's a good little movie. It's a heartfelt.
The one now
that the feds, in Westlake, and
where the bad news hit.
Right. That was called Motivation, and it's an adorable movie. I can't recommend it enough. Family friendly. And Angus Benfield is the director, creator, writer, producer of the thing. It was a passion project for him. And I didn't even know what a passion project was. I didn't know how hard it would be to get a feature made until now. And with knowing that, what Angus was going through to get this movie made and the quality that it looked like at the end of the day, like, because Chris Bond, who shot my 2 films and did an amazing job. And I didn't have a basis of comparison for those things. I just knew, okay, if I need someone to hold a camera, I'll have Chris Bond. And then if I need, someone who understands producing, I'll have Chandra Bond. And these pieces, because she worked on it as well. And, a script supervisor, well, what the hell is that? And then the value that these positions hold, because I would be on other people's productions downstream who wouldn't spend the $200 a day to have a script supervisor. And the cataclysmic damage that has in post with no organizations, like not knowing which take to keep and which ones not to, and having to sift through that garbage. Oh man, I'm still in post-production. I'm still in the edit. It's been 6 months. I'm never going to get this sorted out because I didn't have a script supervisor. And I noted that. Oh, I got to have that. That's going to be imperative. I need to have a DIT. What's a DIT? I got to have that. That's imperative. And then sometimes you get these masterful people that can handle 4 of these jobs at once, but you should not do that. And then also pay them for the job of one person. I have a union background. I'm vested in 2 unions. I believe in paying someone what they're worth, and I don't believe in getting free work from people unless it's their thing. Like, hey, I want to learn on the job. No, take this. It's a gas card. It's some money of some kind. Like, you shouldn't be here for free. I don't do free. I had guys that wanted to help out on Joker's Wild. They handed me the money back. They were PAs and were just over the moon. They're like, you don't know what it's like. I'm working with David Howard Thornton. I love Terrifier. Like, this is a joy. I should be paying you. And I'm just like, as a 48-year-old guy, I'm telling you right now, never tell a producer that you're willing to pay him to be in a movie. I'm the only producer who's going to be like, no. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm on a tirade, but
no, that's not a tirade. That's you showing your integrity.
Yeah, which is something that I've learned does not abound in this industry.
I mean, it doesn't abound in the human race. In a lot of ways, I figured this. Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly critical of the industry.
Yeah.
But honestly, almost all industries.
That's true. Yeah. It might just be the era.
You have a percentage of humans who are of quality and a percentage of humans who are very low quality.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of mediocre people in the middle who just are just like spinning their wheels. And if you need to work with them, you just have to manage them to the point that you're spending more time managing them than if you'd done that job yourself.
100%. Yeah. No, and I should retract that. It's not that this industry is special in that way. You're absolutely right.
I'm sure at the market you dealt with that.
No, it's the integrity of people above me in the grocery industry. The suits. Basically we only promote the incompetent, and so it would rain down ignorance on the people that were actually doing the work, the bulk of the work. Oh, we have a new policy. Oh, great. That's what we need, more policies. That's what helps grocery stores run efficiently. Cool. Is this going to, by any chance, shave an hour and a half off of our workers' hours so that they can not get health benefits? Is that the new policy? Oh, it is. Great. Corporate America. Yay, us. But
absolutely. Figuring out, well, so you meet the Bonds and you get so was Good Counsel actually the first, or what was the first thing?
Motivation was the first for me here.
Motivation, because I was also going to say, like when you wrote something that you made. Was made.
Good Counsel. Yeah.
Good Counsel.
I can't really count like the sketch show and things like that, but the first real Hollywood experience as a writer, which I came down here to write comedy, was not a comedy. It was kind of an assignment. There was another writer, director that was going to have this short written for them, but he had been dragging his feet and hadn't produced a script. They're looking at the clock. The EP's like, the money's right here. I want to do this. And everyone in this town knows that if the money's here and something's greenlit, like someone's going to jump on this thing. Let's do this thing. Let's make this thing, because that is so rare and it's so hard to get. And it was only $5,000, but I say only, I mean, that is a lot of money to anyone, but to me especially, and looking at it now, what you can do with it and what you can't, they did a lot. And I was building set and stuff for free. Like I didn't know, I just wanted to help. And I had the ability and a car full of tools that I'd been using to make money around town, doing odd jobs, and built the set pieces like I was saying, and then gripping, which I had barely any experience of, but I'm free help, But Chandra, and she even found a way to pay. She paid me a script fee.
I was going to say, but you're talking about building and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But at some point they came and said, we need someone to write this.
Yeah. Yeah. We were sitting there, we're literally joking, and everybody was having drinks, and she goes, we need a writer, and just kind of elbowed me a little bit. And I was like, well, okay, well, what do you
Did they have the premise?
No.
They literally had
a la carte,
a budget, and they said, we need a script to shoot in this budget range. That'll be like a day and a half shoot.
I was so loosey-goosey. Saying a day and a half shoot wouldn't have meant anything to me. I didn't have the experience to know that would be page, dependent. They
got really fucking lucky. They really did.
Is it okay for me to say yes?
Yeah, of course. I think you don't have to, but I wasn't. That wasn't a question. That's a statement. To just turn to someone you know and like and say, write the script for us, and then have it turn out that original, and unique and eye catching.
Well,
I was fucking lucky. That's fucking lucky. And again, I mean, I see way too many indie short. I mean, I see for 10 years, 2 festivals a year for 10 years now.
Thousands.
So,
I can't imagine thousands.
I mean, obviously in the beginning we were only getting, 200-300 a festival, but now it's like 700-800 over 800 per festival. So it's like, I guess this is me tooting my own horn. When I say something's original, I mean it, because I see all the ideas that everybody has.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, Jeff, thank you.
But we haven't seen that idea. Have you ever seen anyone tell the story that's in Good Counsel?
No,
I haven't seen that story.
So I based that story, not the murder portion, but I based the uncomfortable kind of cruelty of that on an encounter that I had in marriage counseling with my first marriage.
You had a couple of divorces behind you, so
yeah. The first time I ever went to marriage counseling, it was my ex, and this is not me bashing. I'm just reading the news. She got a recommendation to someone within somebody else's church Neither of us attended that church, but it was just, hey, they'll have a session with you. Just go sit down and talk, and maybe you guys can work this out. And we weren't even really fast approaching divorce or anything like that. We were just unhappy. We had lost our child, and
Christ, I'm sorry to hear that.
we just it was just a really bad time, and which is the understatement of the century. She was 5.5, almost 6 months, and you're getting the baby's room ready. Like, emotions are, everything is everything at that time, and everything is bright and shiny, and then it's gone. And
so this is miscarriage?
yeah. And I know a lot it's not uncommon.
No.
But when you're 22 and it's never happened to you, you don't see it coming. It's not, there were no warning signs. It just
No, it's a devastating. That I am not an expert on it, but I have seen some of the greatest films we've had at the festivals have actually been miscarriage films, and the filmmakers, it's generally a female storyteller, but sometimes not. But it's always, I've never seen my story told.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to talk about it.
If you're watching that film, because the actor, he asked me, and the director asked me, they pulled me aside and said, what motivates this story? Like, where's this coming from? And I said, the guy in this story is angry because my first wife wanted to just commence this family making process. She wanted to she was stronger than I was, braver than I was, and was just like, hey, life's happening. Buck it up. Let's pick up where we left off. Really, it seemed cold to me. Like, I want a chance to grieve.
You were a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
You weren't a partner.
No.
You were just...
I felt like we just needed a little time. Just give me a minute to figure out what is happening to me.
That was my first marriage, by the way. But go on.
Yeah, I just needed some time to figure out why this happened to us, how this happened to us. Like, do I have it within me still? Like, what if this happens again? Am I made of this? And do I have the capacity? Am I strong? Like, I'm asking myself a lot of existential questions. Like, I thought I was braver than this, but I never thought I'd be confronted by this. I already lost my mom at 18. I never thought I'd be confronted by this. And so I'm not doing well at all. And this guy, as you saw in the short, he's not doing well. And he is not there because he wants to be. This is her idea. And this is my story of being that guy who doesn't want to be there. And immediately everything that he says is he's defensive. I was defensive. And those two, in my instance, my first wife, and I'm just reading the news, and her, they got along great. They might as well have gone and shot darts and had drinks afterwards. It was the best of friends, which doesn't bode well for the guy who's clearly the problem in this little triangle. And I felt attacked. I felt like I had to justify why I was sad. I felt like I had to justify why I didn't want to talk today or any time else. Or, it's like, why are you so distant? Well, why the fuck do you think I'm so distant? I hurt right now. And I explained to the director and to this actor, I hurt at this moment, and I didn't want to be there. It's not just that I had other things to do. I don't want to be in my body right now. And they were like, okay, got it. And I didn't know I was feeding a creative beast. Like, he's going to take that and emulate that and work that through his creative acting process. I didn't know what the creative acting process was. I did dick and fart jokes every time I acted. This guy's going to do something way more intense. And I never went to acting school or took acting classes. So I saw something play out that was really startling. I got emotional at the monitor because I'm like, this is an experience I didn't expect. And the director's coming over here, David, and he's saying, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I think this hurts. I think this hurts a lot to see. And and then the plot being too, I created a plot twist. I pitched Chandra, our producer, and the lead actress. I pitched them. I said, okay, so what are this was so cavalier too. They're like, you need a short film. All right. Okay. So what do you need? Give me the age and genders of the actors, and I'll go bang this thing out in the other room. And how obscene in a way, but I felt brave. I came up with 3 premises, and I sent them to Chandra. They picked the one that we ended up making. I cranked out like a 7-page draft, written like sketch comedy, not formatted correctly at all. They said, okay, this works in this, gave me a couple notes. I sent back the second draft, and that's what we filmed. And then I made the $150. And I'm like, Hollywood is easy. Why are people griping? And where's my big break coming? Look, that was so simple. And then didn't sell anything for 6 years. So Hollywood is not easy. But yeah, that story just, the true stuff is where you should be digging.
But you also did exactly the write what you know thing. Writing your own story is one thing, but what you did is you wrote something completely original and creative based on that real situation. So you took the real situation and you empathized with that husband character who just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then you came up with a killer way for him to get the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it was completely original and creative, but you also wrote what you knew, which is the key.
Yeah.
That's the key to good writing.
I thought I like a twist. I love a twist. And I think probably the first movie I saw that gave me the confidence of a real, holy crap, I never saw that coming, was like Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, wow, if I was a really good writer, I could write a twist and edit a twist and be clever with it, especially when you watch it the second time and you're like, you're having all the moments of realizing, oh my God, he's not really talking to anyone, which they do the flashbacks at the end anyway, but you watch it again and you see that there's even more that wasn't included in the flashback. And I thought that was exciting. And so for me to have anyone say they watched Good Counsel and were like, I did not see that coming, was such a huge compliment. That was my sixth sense. I'm like, oh, I wrote something that shocked people and that they didn't see coming. That this is amazing.
All right, fine, but I'm going to give you a deeper compliment, which is, it isn't that just that the twist was surprising. It's that it worked intellectually. It's that the logic of the universe, when the character, I mean, we don't have to worry about spoilers, right?
I don't think so.
It's from 5 years ago.
Been 5 years.
And it's been online. Was it part of the Discovery Indie Film series?
It
might have been that we
Sherman
put on
Oaks.
Amazon.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So actually, people can watch it if they go to
Oh.
Amazon Prime Video and search for Discovery Indie Film. I should have looked it up, but well, then people can't. But I'll still the slight spoiler, which is
This is a good.
what your hired killer does.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I thought.
You know what I mean? And so it's smart.
Yeah.
And that's a higher level of twist when the twist is actually something that, like, oh, of course a killer is going to implicate the person who hired them every time.
Yeah.
If they're good at their job.
Yeah, to me it was logical. My mom loved mystery novels. She loved Agatha Christie novels and any whodunits, any Hitchcock type stuff. And the longer you can go without anyone going, oh, I know what's happening. That's the sign of a really good mystery. And I thought, this is interesting because you just write them backwards as a writer. And I'd never done this. And at that point, it was all, like I said, taking fart jokes, comedy. I was not well versed at writing dramatic plot and never written horror. But what I found was that the elements that comprise the timing of making a really good joke also work terrifically well with timing a dramatic encounter. And in this way, in the case of Good Counsel, it's a thriller. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's this boring, tense, anguishing experience of like this guy who's not doing well in the middle of this marriage counseling session. He's being a jerk and he doesn't want to be there, and he's just huffy and puffy, and she's trying to keep this thing going. You empathize with her. That was one thing that I think Chandra did really well as the actress in this, playing the man's wife, is that she is trying, and I'm giving acreage to of credit to my first wife. She was trying the standard mechanism of keeping a relationship and a marriage intact. Whatever her motivation was for doing it, I think was for appearances, frankly. But like Chandra's character in this was like, hey, can you just try this? Can you just try and talk? And this guy is fighting tooth and nail against it. He's being obtuse. He's being combative. He won't even look at her. And that's the mechanism where I thought, man, if they edit this like I hope I see it in my head, while she's off camera, it's just this little splatter on his face. And you don't even know as an audience what has happened until you go back to a wide, which I didn't know any of these terms either. I just verbally said like, well, we're not supposed to know until we see this. And they're coaching me through the terminology of what it is I'm explaining. Like, oh, we're going to edit this in this way. And I got to be a fly on the wall through all of that and learn all these terminologies. And you know, I look back on the first copy of that script, and I come a really long way from being able to know what the format is supposed to look like. My first feature script was only like 50 pages, and I'm like, well, this masterpiece is done. You know, like, and my writing partner, Vanessa, I had her come in, and she goes, okay, well, this isn't going to work for a feature script. I wouldn't show this to anybody. She came in and helped me rewrite and actually flesh out, you know, a normal feature script to 89 pages. And I think just formatting alone fixed 20 pages of the thing. And that's called Road Dogs. It's actually, I don't want to jinx it. I hope this is wood, but it's supposed to get shot next May. And it will be my first real deal, genuine feature sale. I think the budget is supposed to be between 5 and 7 million. And it's
definitely knock under the table where I know there's wood under. Yeah. It might be plastic on top.
We were so jaded in this town that that script has fallen through 13 drafts, 14 drafts. But we have a great cast. Kevin Pollak is set to direct and star. And it's just, it's hard to get excited about anything anymore. It's just not real. I'll believe it when there's a tripod on the ground and the check clears, because I've been so excited in the past about other projects that I thought, well, and it kind of started with Day One in Hollywood. You know, I was going to write in a writer's room. I knew it was hard to get an opportunity to do that, but I was baked in a situation where I knew one of the producers.
You had been given a back door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a huge opportunity. I was going to write with a bunch of professionals and get to be in a writer's room and get that credit. And I'm sure they would have flipped Union if it got picked up after the pilot was made. And that would have given me an opportunity to get into the WGA. Like, I knew little wisps of what could happen. And then all of that, gone. And so the disappointments and the disasters got to be kind of just how you put your armor on in this town. And I started a grip an electric truck just so I could stay working and stay on set. I refused, like, 3 more years, and I'm vested 30 years in the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. So 3 to 4 more years, it would give me my 30. And
by coincidence, you can use the earlier
I can
union
transfer my book down
Yeah.
to California, work through the same company, Ralph's, that my corporation was through up north with Fred Meyer. I could transact that down here and just go into a grocery store, work 400 hours a year for 4 years, and I know that was always there. But I refused. If I have the opportunity to be on set or do construction on set or be a PA on set, I was going to do anything but admit defeat and go back to the grocery store. I couldn't not start on.
No, I hear you. All right, so we've got to get to Joker's Wild.
Yeah.
But I have to say, all right, so right now, I believe we are recording episode number 638 of the Discovery Indie Film Podcast.
Oh, wow.
And fuck me, shame on me. So when we did the podcast for Good Counsel, you were on it. We did a Zoom call.
Yes.
And you were in episode 370 on March 13th, 2023.
We were
with
so young.
Chandra Bond, Janelle Jones, Aaron Bennett, and David J. Levine. All four of you hopped on and did it together because that's the kind of producer Chandra is, that she brought in everybody
she got
together. So you were actually on this. There you are. We were on Zoom. So you've been on this podcast before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I didn't even say you're returning. And you didn't say you'd been on before. Maybe you didn't even remember you did that.
No, I thought we chatted about it, but there's a million things going on at your festival.
because we just talked about Good Counsel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I will add that, and people can watch Good Counsel. It's in episode season 7, episode 1 of the Discover Indie Film TV series. That and actually season 7 was the last. Probably will remain the last for now because of certain things Amazon did that were just unfriendly towards indie at this point.
Well, that makes sense. That tracks.
Well, the truth is, we uploaded an entire season of dance film.
Yeah.
Because I'm a juror for a dance film festival in Europe, in London, in England, in Exeter, which is not London at all. Oh my God, I just said the most horrible thing to all the people in Exeter who are out.
They should forgive you.
Out a couple hours west of there. But and Amazon just said, no, we're not going to release all dance. I don't know if they have data that you must have dialogue, but it was 10 half-hour episodes of dance films, and they're gorgeous. And we went through all the effort of producing it and uploading it, and then they said, we're not licensing this season. And since then, I've honestly just was
enough.
Not going to put the effort in to put another season up. So,
and this is when we talk about Yao TV, right?
And I will add that season 7, episode 1 of the Discovery Indie Film TV series on Amazon Prime Video is actually a fucking wonderful music video called The World's Gone Nuts that stars real squirrels, and an amazing comedy, actually a sketch, basically a comedy sketch out of South Africa called The Wapidemic, and then Good Counsel. So it's but look, there's no bad show. Trust me, I don't even mention the TV series anymore because of my feelings about how it, that.
Yeah,
I do respect that. I'm sure Amazon, they make the decisions for their servers they need to make. But anyway,
we don't have to forgive.
So I had to bring that up, and kind of cool that you were on episode 370 and now you're back for 638.
Yeah.
So I could do that math. That's 268.
I don't want to wait that many years to put out another film. I want to make another one.
All right. So now that I blabbed that out, So should we just jump to Joker's Wild?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So.
Yeah.
What am I supposed? So here's what I got to say about Joker's Wild. If I had been doing your Q&A, which I don't get to do those anymore.
Yeah.
So for me, it's what a comic book movie should be.
Oh man.
For me, I find, I kind of like the last Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman. It was pretty good. That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I barely liked anything ever. Kind of like the original Keaton's, but I didn't even like the Nolan ones. Honestly, it's all, I was just like, that is the, and I'm pointing towards my TV where I watched it earlier today. but honestly, Joker's Wild is the degree of crime and punishment that I think is required to tell the stories, because otherwise
it's fluff.
It's fluff. It's childish bullshit. And you know what? It's not 1967 anymore. You can't give me like a version of Batman that's inspired by the Adam West version.
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't work today.
No,
for me.
No, and I think it's not just that we're all more violent and we're more attuned to what bad guys should get treated like. I just feel that it's unrealistic at this point that anyone, when trying to pursue a villain of this degree who's caused this much harm, just put some cuffs on them and they go away. I don't think that you fully understand the definition of vigilante unless you can kind of nod your hat and tell the Punisher, I get it. Like, oh, they murdered your entire family in broad daylight. But you got to go arrest them and put some cuffs on them so that they can go and do their time. And you got to let the justice system give them their fair chance, their fair day in court. And you got to, click, boom, that's justice. That's what justice looks like. And everyone who believes, because, Batman is written to be the greatest detective. And that inherently says, okay, there's a crime, I'm going to solve it, and we'll know who's guilty. But the movies aren't structured that there's a mystery. We already know who the bad guy is, and we have this painfully long process of watching him find minute clues and track down these little footprints in the sand to finally catch up with the bad guy, and then they throw cuffs on him, and then he goes to jail. And then breaks out of jail, murders a bunch of people, and then we repeat and wash and rinse and repeat. And I just think that as an adult, I'm over it. I'm done with it. And maybe that says something about me, that I'm okay with corporal punishment or something like that. But I think that if we make the mistake of putting our villains in easily escapable situations when we capture, I'm doing air quotes, and then they break out, and then another innocent family gets killed, and another innocent family, and then they break out, and another innocent family gets killed. I'm like, what are we doing? Either make a better prison or make a better punishment. Or give me a hero that has villain-like qualities because he's flawed and does what needs to / should be done karmically to this bad person. Like, are we redeeming? And people will argue immediately, like, if between Batman and the animated series, there are villains that have redeemable qualities. They're not mass murderers. They're not whatever. They're bank robbers. They're simple criminals. And you get to see their backstory, why they're now villains. And then you get to see their redemption story of why they might help Batman in the future. They'll even sometimes show this is what their job is like now that they're on parole. Like, they go the distance to try and humanize the villain so that you can see, like, hey, if you're a bad guy and you've done something bad, that there is a place for you in the world afterwards. You may be a felon, but there's a place for you in the world after. You don't have to be some holistic creature, and that if you make a mistake, your whole world is over. Go jump off a cliff or Batman's going to blow you away first. Like, I think that DC has done a very good job, especially in the animated series, because maybe they know more kids are watching it. They've done a great job of showing, like, hey, these bad people may have done bad things, but here they are not doing bad things anymore because Batman sat down and helped them say, hey, you did a bad thing. You're going to go to jail for a little while, and you're going to get out. But these are the criminals that aren't like Joker. Joker has no redeeming qualities. There's no remorse. There's no, like, he's the definitive agent of chaos. And I think that if you're going to put Joker in a movie, you'll probably have 10 more before I die. If you're going to have Joker be in your movie, it's going to be a horror movie because it's inexplicable. It makes no sense. People can't fathom the psychosis it takes to do psychotic things. And nor should we be portraying. I think Heath Ledger's Joker would have worked better if they never would have put brakes on that train. I think it was the performance absolutely of his lifetime. I also love his movie Brick, that indie movie that he did. I thought he was amazing in that. But I can't say enough good things about his performance, and it's not just because he passed. I think he very much would have won the Oscar, a living or not, for that performance. Is it my favorite movie of all time? No. Is it probably one of my favorite DC movies of all time? Yeah. I mean, it's probably top 3. And that's not a magical feat because they're popcorn fodder. As a person who loves going to movie theater, I'll sit down and watch a superhero movie all day. Only one I've ever almost walked out of, I didn't, but I really wanted to, was Eternals because it lived up to its name. It just kept going and going and going and going, and I just didn't give a shit. And by the end of it, I don't care. Superhero fatigue. But sorry.
For sure. No, well, besides that, I'll just say that what I appreciate about it is the fact that, as you pointed out, this is a mass murderer and a supervillain and a murderer. And in general,
yeah.
Well, it's a torture scene.
Yeah.
And that's appropriate.
It has,
right? Like the fact that never happens.
It's canon. He did torture him.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
It's in the comics. It's in the comics, right?
Yeah.
And whereas the movies that I get,
yeah.
It's you know.
Yeah. In the movies, it's not something that they portray. I don't know whether it's DC or whether it's Warner Brothers. Or I don't know. I think
it's just a suit saying that you'll sell more tickets.
They can't sell as many toys if it's got an R on it.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't have an R, but
can't have an R. PG-13. It's as far as they're gonna go.
Yeah, but a PG-13. That's why. Yeah. So anyway,
and
you breathe. So and by the way, it's fun. I suppose, right? You sent an email probably before you submitted it, asking if we take a fan fiction movie.
I did.
Think?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do because
right.
It's valid film. But I mean, in this case, it's funny. I don't know if we'd ever had one in. We've gotten others.
You sent me an email response back that I remember it because I was really honored to read this. You said we've only ever had one other fan film. And you said you get sent. You've only ever put another fan film in the festival once, I think is what it read, but that you had received many of them, and to varying degrees, they don't have the production value to make it into the festival. Not your wording, but like that's
and actually not production value, just quality,
just quality overall.
There's in general they're cute efforts by young people.
Right. Well, because
but they don't actually have an idea.
Yeah. I think the majority of fan films out there are people that love the characters more than they love filmmaking, more than they know about filmmaking and can learn from their friends. And I think, hey, my cousin's got a camera. We don't need lights. We'll just turn on the lights in the house. And then they'll shoot a movie, and their costumes are always impeccable because they're all into cosplay, or they know somebody who really looks like Batgirl, or they know somebody who really has a strong build and will look good in tights as Superman. And then I got this badass script. Or they'll just reenact the events from a comic book that everybody loves. And they're having fun, and they are making a movie. But production value-wise, can I sit through and suffer with bad sound? Can I sit through and suffer with bad lighting? I have taste.
But you probably could if the idea
was
were
great.
Of quality.
Right.
Because if the idea's on screen and if there's originality and freshness, you don't care if there's problems with the sound.
I can forgive
You
a
don't
lot.
care if you see a boom or if the it's shot poor. I mean, that stuff makes it harder, but
it does, yeah.
But the truth is, like myself and the rest of our jury, like I'd rather see a technically insufficient film that's original as fuck than, the next, than Eternals,
yeah. Yeah.
Immortals, Eternals. But you know what I mean? Like I didn't even bother, because...
Because what are you going to show me that's new?
Yeah.
And also, though, too, there's a roadmap with a comic book. It's literally a map. It's a compass. If you're the person that knows where the story is going, how are you going to show me something new? I already know that there's going to be some pearls hitting the ground. I already know that a kid's walking out of the theater with his two parents. I already know that they're going to get blasted by a guy with a silly hat and a long-barreled pistol. I already know, all of these things. Please don't show me those parents dying for the 15th time in the 15th movie.
I know, they think it's so important to have
It's just
the origin story is often...
The origin story has been told. I do not care that Uncle Ben gets shot anymore. I just don't. I've seen it done well. That's enough. I know Spider-Man's Uncle Ben dies. I know that shapes him into the man he needs to become in order to become the man that he needs to be. I get that. I'm tired of it as a film goer, as a movie goer. Tell me something new. Now, Bob Kane and Bill Finger, or maybe it's Bill Kane and Bob Finger. I'm so sorry. The creators of Batman.
I'm pretty sure Bob Kane.
Kane, yeah. They made a character and an arc, and the Death in the Family is the comic book that we're emulating and paying homage to when we made Joker's Wild. And it's imperative to David Howard Thornton, the actor who plays Art the Clown in Terrifier, and he plays the Joker in this, who has a great passion for comics, comic culture, DC specifically. He's an encyclopedia. It's got to be one of his TISM superpowers, and because he is autistic and is outspoken about it, but one of his superpowers is he's an encyclopedia of comic book knowledge. And we have strong opinions as nerds as to what our comic books needs to be portrayed like. He wanted a long chin. He wanted a comic book accurate Joker. And in the comics, Joker is a mass murderer. He sent an entire truckload of supplies, medical supplies, food and aid, humanitarian aid that was meant for South African refugees. He replaced it with that deadly gas, and he was taking the food to sell for arms so he could get his money back since he just broke out of prison. That's the plot behind Death in the Family, Death in the Family. So he didn't just need to kill Robin. He put him he beat him up with a crowbar with an inch of his life. After his mother betrays him, he's going to blow up her as well with a bomb. Batman doesn't get there soon enough. It was left to a vote. I don't know if many people know this, but it was left to a vote. A 1-900 number. You pay 50 cents and you get to vote like gladiator times, thumbs up or thumbs down, whether or not Robin dies. And there were, let's call it 60 or 70,000 or 100,000 people voted. Only by a margin of 600 votes was it decided that Robin was going to die. Jason Todd. There have been 4 or 5 Robins, and they've all died at one point. And there's a mechanism. Comic books just can't let good IP die. You got to sell those toys, right? But they decided to kill Robin, so they wrote 2 comics, not believing they would ever need this other one. The writers have professed, like,
people are going to vote.
They're going to vote that he lives.
Yeah.
Batman's going to come in. The bomb's not going to go off yet. Maybe we'll kill the mom. Those panels were already drawn. And here's a kid, that just met his mom after believing all this time that she's deceased. He found her again. She's helping refugees in Africa. And she's the one that rolls over and hands him to the Joker. Oh, my son is Robin. And the Joker's like, great, because if I can kill him and lure him here, maybe I can get a twofer and kill Batman as well. Or at the very least, Batman will be here to get to see the building blow up and get to see Robin die. That's a psychopath. Also, in transit, he's sending 100,000 refugees to their death by sending this gas to them. I have gotten in arguments with people online who are just like, the Joker would never kill Robin like that. You don't know anything about the Joker. He would never kill Robin like that. And I'm just like, he absolutely would. You don't know anything about the Joker. I feel like I'm 16 and I'm wiping snot off my nose going, you don't know, man. But he is a mass murderer, and he goes to the UN in that series of comic books unleashes gas and tries to kill everybody. Superman saves the day. Like, I know this on page 88, and in 1988, he's literally beating him to death with a crowbar, and it's horrific and it's painful and it's traumatic. I'd never seen that before in a comic book. DC was just going there at that time. And so it was imperative to me that if I get to make this movie, and David was all in on this, that we get to tell a Joker story that's comic book accurate in appearance. And we didn't have a high budget, so he didn't have a lot of pliability in his mask. But David is well accustomed and versed to wearing Art the Clown makeup. Doesn't give him a lot of pliability. He has to use his body to really emote his, whether or not he's sinister, whether or not he's like, everything has to come through in his body movement, his physicality. And I had a blessing of having David do that, but this time he gets to speak. And he, in his other three movies, his probably arguably his three biggest horror movies, Terrifier franchise, the Mickey Mouse one, Screamboat, non-speaking. He giggles as Mickey Mouse a little bit. And then the Mean One, which is his Grinch horror slasher movie. And he plays the Grinch, also a non-speaking role. So it's all this body movement stuff. But he is also a talented voice actor. He can do like 1,000 voices. He's just like, as a kid, part of his autistic nature, he would sit in front of the cartoons as a kid and just parrot everything he was hearing, like most voiceover actors. But he's incredibly good at it. And he's kind of a little Mark Hamill. It's a little Cesar Romero. It's a little bit, he goes, I like a little Vincent Price in there, a little foppish almost. And that's his Joker, the one he has in his mind. And his laugh it's just like I've always heard it. And in fact, he did a run through of the entire first take. And as a director, like, I'm kind of forgetting it's my job to say cut. Like, I just let him, I say, here's the room. This is all we could afford to decorate. We got one day to do this. We already lost, of our 12 hours, we lost 3.5 hours to makeup. So, feel the space out, go as far as you can go. He's off book. He's classically trained theatrical actor. I had no idea. I did not do my homework. He, and I had not met him, had not talked to him on the phone. I sent him the script and we texted over Instagram, and I sent him one email asking what his sizes were and what kind of coffee he likes. Like
so he agreed. He did it out of love for the character
100%,
and love for the comics.
100%. I can't say that as a director I motivated him to do some amazing thing, because I'm also inexperienced in that way.
But you were doing something that's rarely done with these characters that he loved, and
Right.
you offered an opportunity.
Right.
Honestly, a once in a lifetime opportunity to portray the Joker in his mind, because Hollywood wouldn't let it happen.
Right. He's trying. There's a massive internet groundswell of like, please, somebody make this a Joker in your universe. Like, he has the talent. He can do it. But it's going to be a Skarsgård. That's what everyone's like. No, it's going to be a so-and-so. It's going to be a Defoe. It's going to be a whatever. But like, here's a guy who actually understands the assignment. He understands this man is a mass murderer. He's done these things. He knows all the comics. He can tell you what pages were what. Like, James Gunn, please, this is the guy. Like, just let him be a Joker in whatever thing, in whether it be live action or voice, because he can do it. And it wasn't until the day of that I had watched a little bit of his live action series, Nightwing Escalation. It was a web series. It was really good. And kind of a fan series. But that was just white makeup on a normal human face. And he did an amazing job and spoke as the Joker and everything else. But this, I wanted to do something because he's got these fans of Art the Clown. He's the Terrifier guy. I wanted to give them something that paid respect to his horror base. And, he goes to these horror conventions and fans come out, and he is great with his fans. He connects on a level that I think horror is unique for at these comic conventions, horror conventions. And I think horror fans are a very specific breed, and they have a warmth to them about people that are trying to create content for them. They're not like abusive. They're like, what's insane is I tried to cross two cultures where I didn't fully understand the horror community, and I understood far too much of the nerd community and the comic loving community and the fanboys. And I felt dread at the karma I was going to get from being that guy that hates everything because it's not just like the comic. I'm just like, I can put all the Easter eggs in the world in this. I have a $4,800 budget, and I have one day to shoot, and I have to make this perfect or the internet is going to hate me forever. And my insecurities are just scraping walls, banging on the ceiling. And I'm just like, okay, and my friends know this enough about me. They're just like, stay out of the comments. They're telling me, stay out of the comments. Don't read it. Don't look. You made a great thing. We love it. People are going to like it. Stay out of the comments, because the only people that are going to take time are going to be the ones that hate it, and they're going to tell you why, and they're not going to be able to make something better than that. Just stay out of the comments. Well, of course, I ran into the comments. I was insecure. I had to know, like, what did people like? And I started reading so much positive stuff, and then I get to those guys. And I'm just like, oh, man. It felt so bad. I'm like, well, if I had more money, I could have made it better. I could have done this. I could have done that. But it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, it was my money. I went all in with what I had, and I made a thing that I am proud of. And it's in a genre that they welcomed what I had to offer. So I feel like I appeased the horror fans. David's fans were over the moon. They got to see him live a dream. And honestly, too, we did it to show James Gunn and those guys, like, hey, like, this is kind of like, it's a little bit like Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds when he leaked his Deadpool short. It was an audition. And yeah, with more money and better makeup, can't you imagine ... Like, hey, James, can't you imagine? I get asked all the time, has James Gunn seen it? Do you know if anyone knows on the inside whether or not he's seen Joker's Wild? I'm like, I don't know. Like, his brother has seen it. like, I know that. I know that. I know James Wan. I teased a photo from set. It's this blurry, obscure photo. It was the first one that David dropped. He's on his 260,000 fans or 230,000 fans on Instagram. He drops this blurry photo of what is a bright white face with green hair and bright red lips, completely out of focus, and a clapboard. And David drops this photo, and he goes, you sure? And I'm just like, yeah, do it. Let's see what happens. He drops this photo on Instagram, and the internet absolutely loses its mind. They're just like, are you the next Joker? It was awesome. I gotta say, like, people, like, he got a text from I think it was, one was James Wan, David Dalmatian, and then another was Eli Roth. It was like, dude, are you serious right now? And I'm just like, hearing those three names, and he goes, yeah, and I'm talking to him on the phone, and he goes, man, check this out, like, I just got a text from so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. And that's not me name dropping. I literally just got a text from these guys. And they're all like, is this legit? Is this real? And I said, what are you going to say? And he goes, nothing. And he was such a mic drop. He was so smug. It was so awesome. He's just like, I'm not saying anything. I'm going to let the world believe just for 24 hours that, like, I'm the guy. And I didn't think of that until I'm saying it now from his point of view, what that must have felt like. To have, like, your whole world of people and peers believe for just a split second that you're the guy who's going to play the thing that everybody knows you've always dreamt about. I can't even imagine how powerful that might have felt, and just the little bit of internal satisfaction a person might have had to just be like, this is my dream role. I've wanted to play this since I was 8. I got to play it.
Well, here you're being empathetic and wonderful towards David. I hope it was also what you always. Right, he got to do what he always wanted. I hope this was something you always wanted to do, and that you have that same.
I was so stressed out.
But now that you can look back on it,
I can look back on it now, and I'm still processing that people enjoy it so much. I've only seeing it at Sherman Oaks is only the second time, other than the cast screening. I showed the cast and crew screening, so there were like 12, 13 people and some significant others, but less than 25 people total for sure.
And like in a smaller room.
Yeah. Just down there in North Hollywood, we rented a little viewing room, and this one speaker was crackly and poppy, and it was just. But everyone saw it, and they were all laughing, which is interesting. Is I was just like, oh man, when you're editing something, you're just like
almost nervous laughter, or is it?
No, they were just laughing.
They were laughing.
It's the dad jokes. It's all of his puns.
Wow.
And that
it's funny because for me, there's no laughter,
right?
And the dad jokes
are sinister.
Are his character that it's faux levity.
Yeah,
it's his angle, right? Of I'm going to pretend this is a joke, but this is serious as hell.
Yeah, I just cut your tongue out. I just showed you your own eyeball. I just did all these terrible things to you, and I'm joking about it. I thought would be perceived in a very different way, but
every audience is different.
I'm
sure there weren't many laughs 2 weeks ago in Sherman.
No, there was some chuckling.
I suppose. I mean, some of it is funny. I guess it is legitimately funny.
It's the silly dad jokes and the holding up of the tongue and the raspberry he blows at him is just so outlandish. But it kind of creates what I liked about it, and what I was striving for is I would create just enough levity, and that there was just enough like, okay, that's clearly a little bit of a silicone eyeball. One of the things you rue is that I didn't put any blood on the eyeball. It was go, 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 go. And when he held it up, I was just like, this thing has been in his pocket. It should have been sticky and gross and some hair stuck to it and everything else, but it should have been matted. And, you have that thing. And I even gave it thought, because here I've got a Marvel guy editing this. I'm like, hey, do you think we should put some blood on this? And he turns around and looks at me and he goes, it's not worth it. You're not going to get from that what you think you'll get from that. You're just seeing it because we've been at this for 12 hours over 3 days. Like, it's not, just let it go. Let's just get the first pass done. Okay, fine.
That was good advice, though.
It was. True. It is. He knows his stuff.
All right, so we have to wrap up.
Sure. Yeah.
But we got a couple minutes, so before I really have to pull the plug. So I felt like I owed it to you to give you a warning that we got to wrap up.
I appreciate it.
So you've been having a good festival run with it, I hope, yeah?
Yeah, we have. I've received 5 now with the Filmmakers Award, which I sat down and thought about that. I'm like, these are previous winners that saw my film.
These are your peers. This is a jury of your peers. I was quite a few people expressed to me that they think the Grand Jury Award, like they're like, I got Filmmakers Board, not Grand Jury. And I'm like, dude, the Grand Jury is a selection jury. Right. And we're kind of biased because we see the 740 films that didn't get into the festival. So we're our perspective. But the Filmmakers Board, they only see the official selections.
Yeah.
And they are active filmmakers who've been at the festival.
Yeah. And
it's literally an acknowledgement from your peers.
Yeah. It's the Oscars. They like me. They really like me. It was
which people make fun of that, but there was nothing wrong with what she said. Hell,
no.
Right? That was the only true moment they've ever had.
Yes, Sally knew.
Yeah, she did.
But yeah, I feel incredibly honored and blessed that people watch it and get something from it or enjoy it. It's like a 12-minute distraction, even if that's all it is. But like,
it's funny. I will also share that if you told me it was 6 minutes, I'd believe you,
A lot
because
of
I think
people
it's such a solid 12 that I feel like it moves really fast.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. A lot of people said that, they saw the length of the video and they're like, oh, that's too long to be a short. And
not in this world.
And I thought, well, that's a weird thing. And I think the first cut of it without credits. So with credits, call it a minute on the credits, is 12 minutes. My first cut was like 13 and a half. And the things that cut were a couple extra dad jokes that were just like, it's the rule of comedy is the rule of threes. And I had like 4 or 5 good variants. And I essentially just picked medium, the mama bear, papa bear, and baby bear, and then went that route. But yeah. Sorry.
No worries. All right. So now that you've got this one under your belt and you've written and directed an award-winning film, award-winning at several festivals and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
13.
So you you writing more? Is that the goal?
I am. Since I've been here, Vanessa and I think collectively have 7 pilots and features just between the two of us that we've written. She's wrapping up post on one of her short horror films, so we're still very active. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a feature that I hope goes into production in May. Will be my first, technically second. There was a very small indie feature that I wrote called Cult of Personality. It's, no famous folks, but Janelle's in that one as well. Janelle Jones, who was in Good Counsel. She's the female lead in it. It's in post now. So hopefully that finds its way to some platform, Tubi or something like that. It's modest. But also made for a modest budget means to turn a profit, it doesn't need a huge offering. But we hope to get that out in 2026. The picture lock, it's in color now, and so it's close. But I really want to make a sequel to Joker's Wild. It took on such a life of its own, and there was such a positive fan reaction that everyone laments not having more. Like, I just keep seeing people say, well, is there a feature, or is this part of a feature? Is this a pitch? What is this? And I thought, I have been mulling it around. Like, yeah, I know that if my phone rang and they're like, what do you have? If you're going to make a feature of this, if we were to let you have a feature of this IP licensed, what would you do with it? I know what that conversation would look like. I know where that would go, and I know what I would want to do. But if I were to make another fan film, which they say I shouldn't, I have many people are just like, don't do that. Just make an original horror movie. And if you're going to do the crowdfunding, do this. But the fans that are going to donate to a Joker's Wild 2 effort are going to be fans of this specific situation. Another Aaron Bennett project is going to be an entirely different ask. And I do have, I've partnered with a couple other filmmakers that did like The Trouble with Tessa, Uncontained by Morley Nelson. And the guy who made Frogman as well is involved. And we came together. They called us online the Horror Avengers, the Indie Horror Avengers. The guy who made Joker's Wild. I mean, it's like, it's kind of got a lot of hype now. And we're pitching concepts and right now trying to get a budget. They don't want to give us any money, this studio, to speak of. I can do a lot with nothing. I've already got my part of the concept done. The other 3 artists will create their part of this world, and then we'll pump it out as like kind of a, I don't know, montage isn't the right word, but I guess
like the Grindhouse, like the anthology thing.
Very much like an anthology for a Grindhouse type of thing. It's how, but our portions are going to be like
they're going to relate to each other a little.
Well, one guy, he did this indie world of the guy who made Frogman is a found footage, and then you've got a morbid, not high gore Trouble with Tessa series, and then you've got a not high gore tension Fargo like horror movie, and then you've got Joker's Wild. So we're vastly different from each other, and so we're all going to take our own different characteristic stabs at one IP. I think it can be really fun. And it will happen. It's just we're trying to get them to open up their wallets a little bit more so we can do something a little bit bigger than what they're offering, because it's not a lot. It's modest, but that's fine. I'm not going to shout out how much I can do with nothing, because they've already seen that. I'll make as much of a movie as I can possibly make with whatever somebody will give me. But I don't, I can't do it for free because I believe in paying my crew. I've used up all my favors, and I used up a ton of them, but I still paid my crew, and I'm proud of that fact. That's why I keep saying it. Good people you attract with real money, and they earn it and they deserve it. And that's what I'm going to do with the second one. I wrote a hell of a script for Lazarus Risen, which is Joker's Wild 2. I cast Lauren Alenia as Harley Quinn. I've got Joel coming back to be Jason Todd again. And in the events of the comic book, Jason Todd does die and comes back via the Lazarus Pit, which is a mechanism DC uses to bring back their heroes and villains. And it follows, it's written right now, 15 pages. And I budgeted some wild shit because I don't have to ask for permission. It's a fan film. Terrible things are going to happen to a lot of people that people love. And it's a horror movie. If this was the gore set at level 5 for Joker's Wild, this is, to honor Rob Reiner, this is 11 on a dial of 10. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it. And so I tried one crowdfunding run. I only got like 13 people to donate to. I don't really understand crowdfunding very much, but I'm trying to figure that out. And definitely excited to bring in a little more Batman out there. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, I do have to wrap it. So I will share that, first of all, people, and I guess we should have said it about 2 hours ago, that people can go onto YouTube and go to Joker's Wild Movie, I think.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, it's at Joker's Wild Movie. Yeah. Instagram, at Joker's Wild Movie. And, of course, Instagram, at Aaron Wright Stuff.
Yep.
Double S. But those will all be clickable links in the show notes. That's my one podcasty thing I say every podcast is check those clickable links and check out all this great stuff. And then there will be clickable links for the crap I'm about to say, which is first, well, not for this part. There's no clickable link for thank you, Aaron, for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
For sharing the story and all that. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You are listening to the Discovery Indie Film Podcast, where we talk to people, filmmakers on the festival circuit. If you want to learn more, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. I have personally quit social media, therefore, you should write to us on social media. And actually, Karina, podcast producer, the world famous Karina Wolf, she made a short film, and it's actually going to screen at Film Invasion in Lima, Peru in January.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mentioned Lima first for a change. All right, so anyway, discoverindiefilm.com is for the podcast and that Amazon Prime TV series I talked about. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 film festivals in the Los Angeles area. Sherman Oaks Film Festival that we hold every December, Film Invasion Los Angeles that we hold every June. I call those 2 sister festivals, and you can link to both through discoverindiefilm.org. And they are getting their cousin in South America next month, actually. In fact, I believe, killing time, this podcast I think will release on January 16th, which is the Friday that Film Invasion Lima launches.
Sweet.
And so if you happen to be in Lima, Peru, the day and you're listening to me, and you made it all through all 2 hours, I believe this is 2 hours and 8 minutes now I'm at.
I am a long-winded individual.
It's fair enough. All good. But, oh my God, they're watching films in Lima tonight.
Yeah.
For the first ever Film Invasion Lima. It's so cool. It's just so cool. I'm very happy about it. All right. Aaron, thank you again.
Thank you, Jeff.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.